Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, sir.
Uh, I'm going to record this session, and I hope there will be a disturbance as well because it will be logged out after 40 minutes. So, what I'm going to do is to record it again and then start a new session. So, kindly bear with the changes. And what we are going to do is to cover those portions which will require a continuous class in order to get hold on those topics. So, irrespective of the fact how many are present, I'm going to start right away. Okay. So I have already provided you notes topic wise in your WhatsApp group. And what I'm going to start with is the introduction of companies. Uh, Here, I'm not considering a demarcation between the student having commerce or non-commerce background. So, what is in my mind, I'm going to speak, irrespective of the uh, you can say the order of the topic. What will be in my mind? I'll stick to some sort of order, but I'm going to explain each and every details, which I think you must know before proceeding to next unit, or in order to finish your syllabus properly, you must know all these details. Okay, so in order to begin with, let me define a company for you. Company, as per the Companies Act 1956, or maybe its amendments, and even if till today we can define a company as an artificial person created by law. A person that is being created by law, it is an artificial person created by law. The company has a perpetual existence. That means the company may be created by law and it can be dissolved, or it can be finished, or you can say it can cease to exist by only the process of law. It cannot die like a natural person. Company has a common seal. The company cannot take a decision on its own. The company's decision is taken by the nominated members, like shareholders, and the management, the chairman or the board of directors, and it has a common seal. That means whether a company takes a routine decision or maybe a crucial decision, the company's chairman signature or the signature of the chief executive officer along with the company's seal will make the decision official. And the most important thing is that the company's capital is divided into small denominations, and that small denomination, a unit, is known as share, and the company's capital is known as share capital. Instead, we have till date have studied about an owner contributing to initiate a business, to commence a business. Then it's become his capital or her capital. That means the owner's capital. But if there are two or three partners, then each and every partner will contribute to the capital the of the firm. But in case of companies, the company's capital is known as share capital. It is divided into small denominations, and that small denomination is known as share or just share. Uh, Let us take an example. Till those who have just joined, I was explaining what company is, and there are numerous way in which we can classify companies like chartered company or statutory companies. Those companies which were formed by the order of kings or queens, like East India Company, it was a chartered company, and companies like Reserve Bank of India, or maybe the Bhakra Nangal Corporation, or the UPPCL, or maybe the ICAI, or SEBI. All these are formed by the Act of Parliament, so they are known as statutory companies. Companies may be uh, limited by share, or companies may be classified as unlimited companies. So when you normally we cannot it is not in general we see unlimited companies. So if there is any company's name like Reliance Industries Limited, then it means that it is a limited company. Its liability is not unlimited. But there were used to be companies in which the liabilities of the shareholder or the participants were unlimited. Uh, Company can be classified as private, public, or government companies if there is 51% or more than 50% stake of any government, state, or center, or maybe both. Then they are government companies. If the company shares are not freely transferable, they are not freely listed on any stock exchange. You cannot buy and sell shares freely on any stock exchange, then it will be termed as a private company. Normally, its shares is being distributed among the restricted members, or maybe the relatives or friends, or maybe those who are nominated. Sahara is a private company in which they have shareholding among several Bollywood celebrities as well as cricketers, and the among the family members. But for that, the companies normally opt for private placement. That means they contact the high net worth individuals, they contact the celebrities, so-called celebrities, and they offer them a share for a substantial investment. And thus they become the directors of the company, or may they occupy a position, or they may not occupy a position, but they enjoy the sharing of profits. But in case of public company, those companies which have a listing on the recognized stock exchanges, those companies that offer their shares to the public at large by by issuing their share for the very first time in initial public offer or IPO, were termed as public limited companies. A company may start as a sole proprietorship, it may turn into a partnership in due course of time, and eventually the company may take shape of a company by the registering under the Companies Act 1956 or its further amendments. And later on, it may opt to go for public issue. So uh, there are stages through which a business may opt to operate like, but it is also possible that you start from being a company from the very beginning. So till now I have tried to explain the type of companies, or maybe the how a company existed. Normally, there is a procedure in which companies take shape. Let me give you a brief about it. Say, if you want to start a company, you have to register your company under the registrar of companies. There are offices. We have an office in regional office in Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. What you are going to do is to register your company. There are several important documents which you are about to prepare. There is a legal opinion that you have to take, and after that registration, a company can be established, or you can say company can be born. But before coming to this briefing, let me start from a step back. Suppose if you have an idea. If I'm audible, please let me know by raising your hands. If suppose you have an idea, or if you want to promote your companies, or if you want to initiate your business, what you can do is uh, you can discuss that idea with your near and dear ones, with the experts, obviously, with your teachers, with the legal experts, with financial experts. You can take their services, and for that services, what you can offer them a position in your company, or you can offer them sweat equity shares, or you can say the shares for their you can say dissemination of knowledge. You can offer them shares of your company. Obviously, if the promoter has confidence, if I'm audible, please raise your hand, because I'm having a doubt whether I'm audible or not clearly to you.
Sir, you are audible.
Okay. So if what we are going to do, we are going to establish a company by discussing an idea with the experts. So what we are promoters. Promoters are those who actually got an idea, and they are actually into establishing a company. You can term them as owner, but in this case we will term them as promoters only. Obviously they are owners, but they are not taking the risk, the entire risk of establishing a company. What they are going to do is to discuss this idea with the banks, with the experts, with the legal expert, financial expert, and what they are going to do, they are going to register it with a name. There are few documents which are very important for registering a company. First is, say, the memorandum of association. In memorandum of association, what it will be like, there are several clauses, like place clause, name clause, member clause, and sort of in what this memorandum of association is all about. It is about the chartered of company, what company is going to do, what is will be its area of operation, and every detail about the capital will be there in mentioned in the capital clause, how much capital will be required to establish a company, and sort of. So there will be several clauses which will be there for company to operate. There are compliances, you can say, there are information which will be required. I can relate this memorandum to a prospectus of a college which bears all the detail about the college and the courses. You can relate it with that document, but prospectus is another thing. I'm coming to that also. There is anything which is done beyond the memorandum of association will be null and void. That activity will be illegal. But is a second document which is required to be registered with registrar of company, and that is article of association. Under article of association, there are laws and bylaws according to which the routine affair of a companies will be conducted, every activity which is outside article can be legal in terms of company's operation, but any activity which is outside the memorandum of association is null, void in the eyes of law. So article of association bears the bylaws and rules regulations according to which the company will function, and memorandum of the memorandum of association is, you can say, a broader field beyond which the company's activities cannot go. There is a prospectus which company wants to issue to the general public. So if a company wants to issue shares, or maybe is planning to issue IPO in future, that is the initial public offering, the company wants to advertise its affairs to the general public or public at large. What a prospectus normally bears is about the idea of about the company, or maybe you can say uh, the future planning or future prospects of a company. Obviously, who are the promoters, who are the financiers, who are the merchant bankers. Merchant bankers are those bankers which guide you to each and every stages, so that a proper IPO can be issued, or proper financing or funding can be generated, obviously through legal means. So what you are going to do through a prospectus, that you are going to advertise your companies to general public. There will be a application form through which you are asking general public to subscribe in your shares. That will be the overall share capital that you will generate through the public. But suppose if you want to continue as a private company only, and you have already contacted high net worth individual, that is HNIs, celebrities, or maybe a rich individuals, or few corporates, so you are not taking your company to the public. So you have uh, planned to go on a private limited company only on that particular basis. So you need not issue a prospectus. You can file a statement in lieu of prospectus, through which you are fulfilling all the formalities of memorandum, article, and prospectus. There will be a subscription or maybe a filing fees. There will be a legal requirement, other legal requirement as well. And through all these documents, what you are going to get is certificate of incorporation. Certificate of incorporation is just like a birth certificate that any family will get on a when a newborn baby is there in their family. So through certificate of incorporation, you will get that a company is born. But a private company can initiate working just after getting this certificate of incorporation. But for a public limited company to function properly, it must get certificate of commencement of business. Only after that they can start their operation. And what is certificate of commencement of business? Is that if suppose you want, say, 100,000 as the initial capital for your company, and you have mentioned this requirement in your prospectus as well as in memorandum documents, what you are going to do is to advertise your company. You have to issue a prospectus. You can advertise through several medium like telemedia, print media, and through the brokers as well. And what you are going to do is to supply them proper forms and information, and publish these information in daily national newspaper as well. There is a compliance which you have to follow. Like you have to advertise before the issue, you have to advertise 2 or 3 days before closure of issue as well. What you are required is that unless and until 90% of the subscription, that means if you are uh, you are trying to generate 100,000, 1 lakh of rupees as the initial capital, at least 90,000 application or subscription interest must be received by the company or the brokers. Even only after that the company can work as a public limited company. If 90% of the issued capital is not initially subscribed by the public, a company have two options. Either they can start afresh and they can file for being a public limited company again, or they can go private. So I have given you a brief about the accounting for share capital. There are two kind of shares. One is normal or ordinary share, or you can term them as equity share, and the second is the preference shares. Obviously you can go for debt, or you can say the creditorship funding also, where you can borrow from public, you can borrow from financial institution, you can borrow from high net worth individual, you can borrow from banks, you can borrow from public at large. But for ownership funding, you can go for either equity share capital or the preference share capital. I'm going to differentiate between these two share capital, but before that, let me cover this point that the equity shareholder or the virtual shareholder are the real owner of a company, and the promoters may be having a substantial holding. So in case of Kotak Bank, in case of Reliance, or they may not be the entire holder of the equity shares, but they are the highest or maybe the prominent shareholder or the majority shareholder among all the shareholders scattered around the countries or around the world. What equity shareholder is all about? You can say the equity shareholders are the shareholders which may or may not get a dividend as per the requirement or as per the condition of the company. Equity shareholders are the real owner. They may enjoy substantial or high rate of dividend, that is the labhansh, or the you can say the share in profit. But it is also possible that they are devoid or denied any share in any year if the profits are not substantial. So the rate of dividend is fluctuating, it is not fixed. But in case of preference shareholder, there are of several types. Ordinary or equity shareholders are only of two types: the ordinary equity shareholders and with a substantial voting power. Like in case of Tata and Cyrus Mistry courtroom or boardroom battle, the Tata sons have exercised their power to issue uh, equity share with substantial voting power. There are a class of equity shares which have a substantial voting power, and that have helped them to ousted Cyrus Mistry from the chairmanship of the Tata Sons. The equity shareholders may get substantial profit in future when the company is established, when the earnings are robust, but in the beginning they may or may not get anything. Equity shareholders are paid after preference shareholders are paid. So the by the word preference shareholder, it is understood that preference shareholders are paid before equity shareholder. There are several class of preference shareholder. They can be participating or non-participating. It means that even after getting a fixed percentage of dividend, if there is anything left after paying to the equity shareholder, again they get a share from of the residual profit. So they are termed as participating. They may be irredeemable or redeemable. That means after a stipulated period, their capital are repaid, or they may be perpetual. That means their investments will never be returned, but they will get the dividend or the share of profit for perpetual or maybe lifelong. even their children's or grandchildren's will get the dividend, then they are known as irredeemable preference shares. There may be different other kinds of like cumulative or non-cumulative type, in which if suppose there is profits which are very less or not enough to pay for the expenses or to the to the debenture holders or to the loan to the lenders as interest. If we are left with nothing, like in case of COVID situation, so we are not able to pay dividend to the preference shareholder. In that case, if they are of cumulative type, what is going to happen in maybe in next year or maybe in few years from now, they will be paid their balances of the past years. But if they are non-cumulative, once if in any year the profits are insufficient, and if there the management or the company fails to declare any dividend for preference shareholder, you can say that they are not going to get anything for the past years. So it is like cumulative, non-cumulative, participating, non-participating, redeemable, irredeemable, and there are several other types. I'm missing the one, and I'm not concentrating on that point. You can go through the content provided, and you will be able to understand. If there is any problem, you can get back to me. But there are other differences between equity and preference shares, but in a way they are the shareholders. They are providing us ownership capital, and in a way they are the owners of the company. So what I'm going to discuss further before we logged out for this session, from this session, is that if suppose a company is spending so much amount in preparation of these legal document, paying the legal experts, stamp duty, registration fees, and all the advertising expenses before a company is being established, all these expenses are to be capitalized as preliminary expenses. So all these expenses are miscellaneous or preliminary expenses. They will be under the head miscellaneous expenditure on the asset side of the balance sheet, and they will be written off over the next few years. So ultimately they are going to be written off, they will be transferred to profit and loss account. But what is going to happen, that we have to record each and every expenses that we have incurred before a company start functioning. So all these expenses will be preliminary expenses. They will come under the head miscellaneous expenditure in the on the asset side of the balance sheet. I've already told you about the minimum subscription as per section 69. If a company fails to get 90% of the subscription of the issued capital, say if you are generating 100,000, that is 1 lakh of capital from the public, and if you fail to get 90% applications, say 90,000 rupees applications from the public, you cannot continue as a public limited company. You can refund those that particular money, or you can go for a private company, or you can start afresh. Or so there is also a penalty if you fail to refund that particular money within a stipulated time period. What I'm going to explain for next 7 or 8 minutes, then I'll log out because this meeting will ultimately will be logged out after 40 minutes. So I'm going to restart it and will continue further for next 40 minutes. There are different types of share capital. One is authorized share capital, for which you have taken permission. That particular authorized capital is the capital which you are going to get or going to generate from the public in the life of the company. This authorized share capital, you cannot generate share capital from the public beyond this point, but it is possible that company eventually will start earning on its own, and you may not be requiring further, but it is the initial capital or the maximum capital that you can generate from the public by issue of share capital, or that is the IPO. So authorized share capital is the capital which is mentioned in the memorandum of association. You cannot generate capital beyond this particular point. Suppose you want to you have taken authorization of 5 lakh of rupees, but you may not be requiring the total 5 of rupees in the very beginning because you have just started. So uh, the promoters have decided that okay, we are going to issue only 20% of the capital. So the issued capital will be 1 lakh of rupees, and you are going public to generate this 1 lakh of rupees for your initial years. So that will be the issued capital. What you are going to do if you are dividing, let me explain it in Hindi. if अगर आप इस 1 लाख रुपए को 10,000 शेयर्स में डिवाइड कर देते हैं, तो 1 लाख को आप जब 10,000 से डिवाइड करेंगे, when you are dividing this 100,000 by 10,000 shares, you will get the value of one share as 10. That will be the face value or nominal value of the company, of the share of the company, and it is the face value or nominal value on which dividend is declared. So if suppose in future company is going to declare 20% dividend, so 20% of this 10 rupees is 2 rupees. 2 rupees per share will be the dividend declared by the company. Even if the share price of the company in the market is 4,000 or 400, the dividend is declared on the face value of share of the company. Okay. The next is the subscribed capital. If suppose the company's 100,000 share is fully subscribed, then it is called subscription at par or fully subscribed. If you have received 200,000 share application, then it is, you can say, oversubscribed 2 times. And if suppose you have received subscription less than 100,000, then it is undersubscribed. If it is subscribed below 90%, you cannot continue as a public limited company. Suppose if company has a full subscription, the public has agreed to pay him 1 lakh of rupees. Even now the company does not want to generate full 100,000, that is 1 lakh, from the public. Presently the company has asked for only say 80% of the money from those 100,000 share subscribers. So what they are going to do, they are going to collect this money in some installment. The first will be the application money, the second will be the allotment money, the third will be the first call money, the second or balances will be the second call or final call money. So in this manner the company is going to uh, you can say take money from the public in installments. And finally what I am going to cover is capital reserve and reserve capital. अगर 10 रुपए का शेयर है और कंपनी ने आपसे 80% मांगा है, तो ऐसे केस में कंपनी ने 2 रुपए आपसे नहीं मांगे। तो जो कंपनी ने आपसे 8 रुपए पर शेयर मांगे हैं, वो कंपनी की इशूड कैपिटल या कॉल्ड अप कैपिटल हो गई, और अगर आपने वो पैसा उनको दे दिया तो वो आपकी कंपनी की पेड अप कैपिटल भी हो गई। लेकिन अगर आप में से किसी ने, एक आदमी ने सिर्फ 6 रुपए दिए हैं, तो बाकी के 2 रुपए उसने मांगने पर भी नहीं दिए 8 में से, तो वो कंपनी की अरियर, मतलब एक तरीके से कॉल इन अरियर हो गई, जो कंपनी का हक है आपसे लेना। हो सकता है किसी ने 8 रुपए के बदले पूरे 10 रुपए पे कर दिए हो, हालांकि कंपनी ने मांगे नहीं थे, तो ऐसे केस में वो कॉल इन एडवांस है, जो कंपनी के ऊपर लाइबिलिटी है। तो ये टर्म आपको जानने चाहिए थे जो मैंने आपको बताए। और ऐसे में अगर मैं आपसे ये कहूं कि 10 रुपए में से बाकी के 2 रुपए, जो कि 8 में से 9 और 10वां रुपए है, कंपनी वो मांग नहीं रही है, तो ऐसे में वो कंपनी की जो है रिजर्व कैपिटल हो जाएगी, जो कंपनी आज रिक्वायर्ड नहीं करती और वो कभी फ्यूचर में इमरजेंसी में उस पैसे को मांगेगी आपसे, तो वो कंपनी की रिजर्व कैपिटल है। कैपिटल रिजर्व क्या होती है? अगर कंपनी के कैपिटल प्रॉफिट है, असेट को बेचकर प्रॉफिट है, तो उस प्रॉफिट को जब आप रिजर्व में रखते हैं तो उसको कैपिटल रिजर्व कहते हैं। जैसे कि हमारा जनरल प्रॉफिट लॉस हम अपने बिजनेस के थ्रू कमाते हैं, तो उसमें से अगर कोई प्रॉफिट का हिस्सा अलग रखते हैं तो उसको जनरल रिजर्व कहते हैं। वैसे ही अगर हम लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट्स को बेच वगैरह करके उससे कोई प्रॉफिट बनाते हैं तो उसको कैपिटल प्रॉफिट कहते हैं, और उस पैसे को जब आप अलग रखते हैं तो उसको कहते हैं आपका कैपिटल रिजर्व। तो रिजर्व कैपिटल और कैपिटल रिजर्व में डिफरेंस है। नाउ यू कैन गो थ्रू दी नोट्स। आई एम लॉगिंग आउट. I will reinitiate after 2-3 minutes. I'm logging out, and you can go through the balance sheet of the company as per Schedule 6. Okay, what we are going to do next is we are going to discuss about the company's balance sheet. I'm going to screen share it if possible, and then we are going to discuss about the vertical format of the balance sheet as per Schedule 6 in next class.